What if I told you that the mask you've seen get passed down time and time again throughout the episodes, from the hero to Shizu to Rimuru back to Chloe, was all planned? Also, what if I told you that this item is actually one of the strongest artifacts in the world, surpassing time itself? The mask is actually in an unending loop, same as Chloe, due to her time and space skill. Her skill has been sending her back in the past every time Rimuru disappears and Hinata dies, reliving the same tragic moment over and over again. In the original timeline of Chloe's, Rimuru doesn't become a demon lord, which is fine at first, then the Eastern Empire ends up invading. Chloe begs Rimuru not to go, but Rimuru reassures her that everything is fine, and gives her his anti-magical mask. Shortly after going to battle, where he ends up disappearing, and Veldora is released, where Rimuru disappeared. The East and the West join together and end up defeating Veldora, but in these events, Hinata ends up being assassinated. She ends up binding her soul into her mathematician skill, which Chloe inherits, resulting in Chloe and Hinata being sent back in time. The portion of Hinata's soul that she brought with her, I believe, harbored her hero's egg, and Chloe ends up leaving Cronoa behind, being sent back into a distant past right before Veldora destroys the city of vampires. They end up warning Luminous Valentine, which causes less casualties. I'm saying they because they were sharing the same body at this point. They chose to become the hero who sells Veldora, but needed unlimited imprisonment and absolute severance to do it, so they ended up training. Here's all the events that happened in their time in the past. First, they told Luminous about the future they come from. Luminous ends up creating the church so Hinata can join in the future. Hinata or Chloe defeats Veldora and seals him. This allows Rimuru to meet Veldora in the cave, and they gain the eternal friendship of Valentine. The world does not allow multiple people to exist in the same timeline. I say this because Chloe was about to be summoned to the world for the first time, so the body was entrusted to Hinata until she was summoned to the world herself. While in control of Chloe's body, Hinata ends up saving Shizu from Leon. They travel together, but she was slowly losing control of Chloe's body to Cronoa. This is due to because as it got closer to Hinata's time to be summoned to the world, her control of Chloe's body weakened. Fearing complete loss of the body, she gives Shizu the mask to control Ifrit, and she ends up leaving Shizu. She then gets sealed by Luminous with the promise to be unsealed later in the future, shortly being summoned to the world for the first time a bit later. This was all before Rimuru came into the world. Let me explain that Cronoa is the alternate hero name that Chloe and Hinata made up so they wouldn't be discovered by Yuki. It also is the name of the split personality of future Chloe. Cronoa is all Chloe's trauma and bad emotions she sealed with infinite prison. She became her own person after she was given a name by a version of Hinata, while she was in control of Chloe's body. While Chloe and Hinata are being sent back into the past, the regular Cronoa ends up waking up in the original timeline. And with everyone gone and no Rimuru, she rages, trying to destroy the world. Guy ends up dealing a lethal blow to Cronoa due to being a meditator of the world, worried that she would destroy it. Rimuru ends up waking up as a demon lord with Raphael evolved and finds Cronoa just before she was about to die. She feels herself traveling back into an unknown point in time, but Rimuru with Raphael influences her to reach Chloe, which were when they were in the dwelling of spirits where she fused with young Chloe. Chloe ends up gaining her memory and time traveling powers. From here, she ends up manipulating the timeline by delaying Rimuru so he would run into Hinata. This was so he would arrive at Tempest late and Xian and the others would die. She also ended up getting the mask early this time. In the first timeline, he never ended up running into Hinata, so he was able to make it to Tempest early and defend it before Phalanx even made it to it. So he never became a demon lord. In the current timeline, due to Xian's death, Rimuru was able to become a true demon lord several years in advance. In the first timeline, he wouldn't have become a demon lord for 7 more years. This results in Veldora's early release and Rimuru gains Diablo, which is very strong. It's believed by Diablo that Rimuru is the creator of the mask, but it's constantly getting passed down from Chloe, Cronoa, Hinata from the future due to Chloe bringing it while traveling back in time in order to create the perfect timeline to save everyone. Hinata in Chloe's body gives it to Shizu so she can suppress Ifrit, then it's given to Rimuru back to Chloe after he analyzes it to create more masks later. It took 2,000 tries of them in that loop, failing over and over again to get the perfect timeline I explained above, which explains why the mask has time compression of infinity. It was a normal anti-magical mask given by Rimuru, but as it was passed around, it fused with time because of Chloe's skill, and eventually surpassing time, constantly being refined through every loop. But if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, consider watching the next one on the screen. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.